Imagine you buy a house, you close the deal, you move in, you change the lock. Then 4 months later, a government you don't even do business with shows up and says, actually, no. Give it back. That's exactly what just happened to Meta. China's National Development and Reform Commission just ordered Meta to unwind its $2 billion acquisition of Manus, an AI agent startup. The deal closed in December. The money changed hands, the engineers moved teams, and now Beijing is reaching across borders to claw it back. This isn't normal. This has never happened before. And the implications for every AI deal on the planet are enormous. First, let's talk about what Meta actually bought. Manus is an AI agent startup. Not a chatbot company, an agent company. The difference matters. Chatbots answer questions. Agents do things. Manus builds general-purpose AI agents that can browse the web, execute multi-step tasks, interact with APIs, and coordinate with other agents to accomplish complex goals autonomously. Think of it as the difference between asking someone for directions versus hiring someone to drive you there, pick up your groceries, and file your taxes on the way home. Manus was originally founded by a team with deep roots in China's AI ecosystem. Several co-founders came out of Tsinghua University, China's MIT equivalent, and the company's early research was done in Shenzhen. But in 2024, the team made a strategic decision to relocate the company's legal headquarters to Singapore. They reincorporated, moved IP, and set up operations outside of China's direct regulatory reach, or so they thought. Meta saw Manus as a critical piece of their agentic AI strategy. Zuckerberg has been saying for over a year that AI agents are the next platform, not just assistants, but autonomous digital workers. Manus had the best general-purpose agent architecture outside of what OpenAI and Anthropic were building internally. So Meta paid $2 billion and closed the deal in December 2025. Everything was done by the book. Singapore regulators approved. US regulators cleared it. The deal was done. Then China called. On April 27th, China's NDRC, the National Development and Reform Commission, issued an order. Not review it, not submit additional paperwork, reverse it, unwind it, give it back. The legal basis is a 2023 expansion of China's anti-monopoly and foreign investment review framework that gives regulators authority over deals involving entities with significant Chinese intellectual property or talent connections, even if those entities have legally relocated abroad. Let that sink in. Manus is legally a Singaporean company. It was acquired by an American company, and China is asserting the authority to block the deal because some of the founders are Chinese, and some of the early research happened in China. This is extraterritorial enforcement on a scale we haven't seen in the tech sector. It's not like China blocking a deal inside China. It's China reaching into Singapore, a sovereign nation, and telling two foreign companies what they can and can't do. The NDRC's stated reasoning is that Manus's agent technology constitutes a national security relevant AI capability, and that allowing it to be acquired by a US tech giant represents an unacceptable transfer of strategic technology. They're treating agentic AI the same way they'd treat semiconductor manufacturing equipment or military hardware. Bloomberg is reporting that the order was personally approved at the state council level, meaning this isn't some rogue bureaucrat. This came from the top. Xi Jinping's inner circle signed off on this. Meta has not yet publicly responded, but sources inside the company describe the situation as unprecedented and say legal teams are evaluating options. The problem is, Meta has almost no leverage. They don't operate in China. They have no Chinese revenue to threaten, and any legal challenge would have to go through Chinese courts, which are not going to rule against the state council. This isn't just about Meta and Manus. This is about the rules of the game changing for every AI deal on Earth. Here's the first problem: talent flight. One of the biggest dynamics in global AI is Chinese researchers leaving China to work at Western companies or to start companies abroad. If Beijing can retroactively claim jurisdiction over any company founded by Chinese nationals, regardless of where that company is incorporated, then the entire talent pipeline gets poisoned. Why would any VC fund a startup with Chinese co-founders if China can pull the rug out years later? Second problem: Singapore's credibility as a neutral hub. Singapore has spent years positioning itself as the Switzerland of Asian tech, a place where Chinese and Western companies can both operate without geopolitical interference. This order drives a truck through that narrative. If China can reach into Singapore and unwind deals, then incorporating in Singapore doesn't protect you from anything. Third problem: this sets a precedent for everyone. If China can retroactively block foreign acquisitions of companies that used to operate in China, what stops the US from doing the same thing? What stops the EU? We could be entering a world where no cross-border AI deal is ever truly final, where any government can show up months or years later and say, actually, we've decided this is a national security issue. And the timing is not a coincidence. This is happening during an escalating AI Cold War between the US and China. The US has been restricting chip exports to China. China just demonstrated with DeepSeek V4 that it can build frontier models on domestic chips without NVIDIA. And now China is saying, if you won't let us buy your chips, we won't let you buy our talent. This is tit for tat, and the AI industry is the battlefield. The honest answer is, nobody knows. Meta could comply and unwind the deal, but that would mean writing off $2 billion and losing a critical piece of their agent strategy. It would also signal to every government on Earth that retroactive deal blocking works. Meta could refuse to comply, but then what? China can't seize Meta's assets. Meta doesn't have any in China, but China can make life very difficult for any Meta partner or supplier that does business in China. And in the semiconductor supply chain, that's a lot of companies. The most likely outcome, according to people following this closely, is a prolonged negotiation. China may be willing to let the deal stand in exchange for concessions, maybe technology sharing agreements, or restrictions on how Manus's agent technology is deployed in certain markets. That's the playbook China used with Qualcomm's NXP deal back in 2018. They blocked it to extract concessions, not because they actually cared about the merger itself. But there's another possibility that nobody wants to talk about publicly. The Manus team itself might fracture. Some of the key engineers still have family in China. Some still hold Chinese citizenship. If Beijing puts pressure on individuals rather than companies, it gets very personal very fast. And we've seen that playbook before too. The AI Cold War just got its first real casualty. And it's a $2 billion startup that thought it had escaped the geopolitical crossfire by moving to Singapore. It hadn't. This story is still developing. If China actually forces the reversal, it'll be the biggest government intervention in an AI acquisition in history. And if Meta fights it, we could see the first major international legal battle over who gets to control AI talent and technology. Either way, the rules just changed, and every AI company in the world is watching. If this kind of story is why you're here, the intersection of technology, geopolitics, and power, hit subscribe. We cover this every single day. I'll see you tomorrow.